Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Xolie and welcome to this edition of the Lit in Sky section of Girl in Sky's podcast. I am so excited today to be joined by Sane. Is it okay if I call you Sane? I noticed everyone.
Yes, it's okay.
I like some people like no. Actually, my name is Sanele.
No, you can call me Sane.
So Sanele has written out a book. So I'm really excited just to have her a poetry book. So really excited just to kind of have a discussion with her today and talk about these poems that she's written and just to talk about a little bit about her. So Sane, is there anything? What's unique about you? Like what is one thing that not many people know about you?
One thing that I'm an oversharer. People know a lot about me.
So I find that interesting that you say that because I think when I first reached out to you and I was like, I just want to ask you questions. And you said that you're like, I'm really an oversharer. How does that equate to you? Do you feel better after getting things off your chest?
Yes, I do. I just like talking a lot and I just like letting whatever I'm thinking be known. I'm not one to say, okay, I'm just going to assume. Why are we assuming when we can just ask? Okay. So I also don't like it when people assume stuff about me. So I just share my life. Like if you follow me on social media, I've shared my life.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. And I feel like we're going to get to know a little bit more about you and about what makes you tick, about love, about grief. So I'm really looking forward to kind of getting into this with you. I mean, I guess for me, it's where to start is, can you, in your own words, how would you describe Naked? How would you describe it? If to somebody who hasn't read your work before, how would you describe it to them?
So for me, Naked is Tshegofatso and I had this ongoing conversation on WhatsApp. Like it just started when we started dating and it went on until the very last night of his life. So Naked was a continuation of that conversation because if you've read it already, when I was writing it, I felt like I was talking to him. I was continuing the conversation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Tshegofatso? How did you guys meet? It sounds like your relationship was like from reading your work. It sounds like the relationship just full of excitement, of love, of spontaneity. It's 5:00. The data bundles have depleted, but it just feels like it was such a full relationship, and then how did you guys meet? Like, let's just start there. Like, how did you guys meet?
So I used to work with his brother, and his brother is this kind of person who just adopts everyone into his family. He's this larger than life person. You meet him, he's bubbly. He just says, "Oh, these are my brothers. These are your brothers too now." So that's how I met. So I used to work with his brother, and his brother introduced me to his siblings. And I promise you, the first time I met Tshegofatso, I just knew without him saying it, I just said, this is the guy. Okay. Now I needed to find a way to talk to him, but I knew.
You felt that
thing. Yes, right. I felt that thing.
Right, okay. Yeah. And then how did things progress, like into you guys talking?
So I wasn't sure how to approach him, and I couldn't exactly ask his brother because I wasn't sure how he would feel about it.
Yeah.
So I just bought my first car at that time. I was still learning how to drive as I was driving the first car. So one day, I think I just driven back from Mozambique. I got back at around 10 p.m. Then I went to their house and I said, guys, I need one of the brothers to help me go drop off my friend because it's late at night and I'm tired and I'm just driven so far. Yeah. And lo and behold, Tshegofatso with his very sweet, nice self said he'll drive. It's like, really? Are you sure? I said, yeah, sure, let's go. We're going to the West End. Then I scooped out of the car from the driver's seat, went to the passenger seat. He got into the car, and I thought, this is the opportunity. This is the chance. So as he was driving, he started chatting. I was like, you know what? Next time, if I need you to drive, instead of me looking for your brother so I can get to you, can I just get your number? And he said, sure. He gave me his number.
He's showing us the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, I got his number, and the rest is history.
Okay, and then how would you describe to somebody who had never met or fortunate enough to meet Tshego, what was he like as a character, as a boyfriend, like as a lover? What was he like?
Tshego was very quiet, like he just didn't like talking. But for some reason, I easily get overwhelmed by crowds. When we're out together, he was the social butterfly. I used to call him the social butterfly. Mm-hmm. He would be the one carrying the conversation, and I'm just there hiding behind him because I'm so overwhelmed. Yeah. So he had that side to him. He was very quiet, very reserved, but he knew how to carry conversations. Right. And he was very thoughtful. Like, that's one thing that I missed the most about him. Like, he was very, very thoughtful. I just remember last year I went back to work after 6 months of not working, and I was just complaining to him about my back. You know, when you're not used to sitting on a chair all day. Yeah. And then he sent me a message sometime during my second week of work, during lunch. He says, I'm outside. I'm like, what are you doing at my house at lunchtime? So I opened for him. He had brought me, I don't know what you call those back support things for your chair. Yeah, that you put on your chair. So he was that kind of person that I didn't ask him. I just complained about my back being sore. And he thought, oh, okay. He was also very busy at work. So I was surprised to see him at my place during lunchtime. We never saw each other during lunch. And he just said, I just came to drop this off, and we left. So he was very thoughtful. Wow. And he was the sweetest. Like, okay, I guess a thoughtful person turns out to be sweet as well. Yeah. And I was a spoiled baby girl. I was 2 years older than him, but he treated me like his baby. He used to call me his firstborn. He spoiled me rotten. And because I don't make as much noise on social media, but when I always used to say, guys who say, oh, women are after my money, do not have that money. He spoiled me rotten. Like, I never lacked anything when I had him. Like, I never stressed about money. I never stressed about anything concerning money because I knew I was covered. And he saw all of me. I always felt safe, comfortable with him. He saw all of me and loved me anyway, which is incredible. I really felt like myself with him. I never had to hide anything. He just loved me, because sometimes I'll tell him something and he'd be like, you're really crazy. But he didn't. He wouldn't say it in a way that he's judging me. It was just like, okay, your hair is black. Yeah, but I love you anyway. So yeah, he was that kind of guy. And being loved by him made me feel like the only girl in the world.
Oh, that is amazing. Like, we're going to come back to that. I wanted to speak to you about one of your poems, and I'm trying to find it, where you say that he was such a lover of music. Like, you guys shared an Apple playlist. So is this music that you still listen to, or is there any particular songs? Like, I know you mentioned one. I think it was Slack. I never know how to say that guy. I think it's Slack and somebody else.
Oh, Black. Okay, he calls himself Black, but we used to call him Six Leg. Like, who names themselves that and says they are Black? Yeah, but yes.
So, is there any songs that, apart from that song, obviously, that you link with him? Is there any other songs that you listen to that kind of make you think of him? Or do you ever find yourself listening to something current or new and find yourself thinking, oh my goodness, like, Tshego would like this, or he would have loved this?
So as you were speaking, I was opening this playlist because we've got 2 playlists. And the one song, there's a lot of songs, but every time people say I should play a song that Tshego would play, It's Never Too Busy by Kenny Latino. And every time, whenever that song comes on, I think of Sunday afternoon, chilling in the sun with Tshego with a glass of wine, maybe him crying or something, but this is the song. And then there is No Ordinary Love by Chris Botti. It's this one is like, the instruments are very nice. Not instrumental because they do sing, but it's not like the original song. Which other song? Like, so many songs. Okay, those are the two that really make me think of him when they come up.
Like this, I want us to segue, but I want to kind of really talk about Tshegofatso a bit more. Like, you know, you guys had spoken about getting married as well at some point in time. You had I think there's a picture you show like a screenshot of a picture of a wedding ring saying this is the type of ring that I want. So you guys had, you know, your relationship it was over 5 years?
It was exactly 5 years. He passed away 21 passed away. It was 5 days after our 5th anniversary.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
How do you, like, losing somebody so like, you have to apologize for this person making noise in the background. I'm going to be muting.
No problem.
When you've kind of come out and you curated such a love, you're so close to nearly getting married, you know, how do you, like, I'm curious, like, obviously the naked is one way in which you kind of have dealt with your grief. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you are still dealing with grief, or do you feel like you have maybe found ways in which to kind of put that to one, like, I don't know if you can ever do that, you know, I don't know. So I'm hoping you can tell me, like, what is grieving like for you now, years, like, you know, years after he has passed? Was it years after?
So it's been a year, and this is a year. It'll be a year and a month on the 26th of this month.
Yeah.
So I hate being cold. Like, that is the one thing that I know to be true about myself. I cannot stand cold weather. And I've said grieving Tshegofatso has felt like being cold in the bones. Like, I'm just freezing cold.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, when you have your back open to the wind, you know how uncomfortable having your back cold is?
Yeah.
And my feet as well. Like, it just feels like being cold. Yeah. And I've tried very hard to not fixate on the thought that we wanted to get married, because I keep thinking getting married wouldn't have prolonged his life. So, and when I look at our relationship and all the things he did for me, what we had, I honestly think there's nothing marriage would have given me that I didn't already have. Mm-hmm. So I don't really grieve the wedding or the marriage. I just grieve the loss of him, because I already had everything that I wanted. So marriage would have just been a formality to say, okay, we're declaring to the world now that we are together, but we already had everything. Yeah, so grieving him has really felt like being cold. And ever since he passed, I've noticed I really seek out warmth, like actual warmth, and also being around people that make me feel warm, because our relationship felt very, very warm.
Yeah. And are there times like now that you feel cold, as you say, like?
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
So, like, right now I've been at my brother's place for 2 weeks because he's got the most adorable baby girl. So when it gets too hard for me,
and the cat.
Yes, and the cats, yes. So when it gets too hard, I just pick up my bags and come here, and it's honestly so healing to just be around the babies. They don't know what happened. They just know, because when it happened, I moved in with them for 3 months. Okay. And there's a day that stands out for me. I had been crying all day, and I only got out of bed, I think around 2. Then I went to shower and got back to my room, and I was listening to music, because I think Tshegofatso really fostered that love for music in me. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to music, and then Sisanda, the older one, she's 4 now. She was 3 at the time. She walks into my room and says, she just looks at me and she's like, Sane, why aren't you listening to Baby Shark? You know, with this confused look, like, why would you listen to anything else but Baby Shark? And in that moment, I just laughed. And I said, you're right. I found Baby Shark, jammed to Baby Shark.
Yeah.
So it's those tiny moments that have really brought the light back into my life. And I always say my nieces saved my life. If it wasn't for them, I can't promise that I'd still be here today. So they've just been a healing balm to my heart. So there are days when I struggle, like now, see, already it's been a year, but I had to come back to my brother's place because I just wasn't coping alone at my place. Yeah. So, and I'm so grateful for Tsego's family as well, because I'm very close to them now. Yeah. So sometimes I do go and sleep over at their house. It's just healing to be around them. So my brother's family and Tsego's family have been my lifeline.
Okay. Can I ask you like a question around your family? Like, you know, I mean, I'm imagining from my side, like my own experiences, and I appreciate everybody is different. My thoughts were, if I was with somebody who, my family, like, you know, like my uncles and everybody else, if I was with somebody and that person sadly died or passed away, and that person hadn't brought any cows home, or they I don't know how much grace they would put around honoring that person, if that makes sense. Because I almost feel like the society that we live in, and the society where our parents' generation come from, is that to be grieved. Yes. Like you almost need that permission. But yet we lose so many people who are close to us. So we lose so many people who are close to us who they maybe don't know, and they don't know how to deal with that. What was that like for you? And like, I know you're very close with your brother and your nieces and his wife and everything. But what about your other immediate family? Like how did they take things? And were they
both my family and Tsego's family have been incredible. I won't lie. The day Tsego passed, the day Tsego passed, yes, I went to his family home because he still stayed at home. We didn't live together. And it worked for us. Like the arrangement was perfect. I love that. I'll do it again. So he still stayed at home with his family. I went over to his family. They called everyone who was at home. We had a meeting. They let me talk to express myself and just hold space for my grief, acknowledging that he was the love of my life. And when I told my mom, she's in Zim, she came the next day and she stayed with me for a whole month. So our families actually have just been amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And after
a tear in my eye, like that.
Yeah. And
after this, I want to be adopted as well by your family.
Tsego's family involved me in the planning of the memorial service. He wanted to be cremated, so there was no funeral. We just had a memorial service for him. I was involved. I got to speak at the memorial service as his girlfriend and not friends. Yeah, I spoke as his girlfriend. And after the memorial service, so he wanted us to get married at a family farm. So I told the family that we were actually supposed to go to the farm the next day. He died the day before. So I told them that I want to see this farm. So on the day of the memorial service, on the day he was cremated, we went to the farm. Like they've just been
amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. I can't believe the grace that I've received. And sometimes, like I was speaking to his uncle the other day, and he was just saying, use your experience to help other people. I was like, I feel guilty because not everyone has what I have. So I'm scared that if someone loses their boyfriend or loses their girlfriend, I feel like I'm not the right person to share anything with them because you guys are just all amazing. I haven't had any stress about family. They've just been there for me, just holding me. Like Tsego was a physical touch person. Can I tell you, every time I'm with his aunts, they're cuddling me because they know I just miss having my person hold me. So it's just like, I feel I believe deeply in grace, but now I believe in it even more because I was like, wow, I got a cushion for this huge blow. So as much as I miss him, as much as I'm sad and I'll give everything to have him come back, I am incredibly grateful for his family and my family because they've just been really amazing.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
It's so nice to hear that. It's so nice to hear that you've been supported and given that space to grieve collectively, whether you go to his family or it's your family, that you've got that space. It's really nice to hear. Now, can we talk a bit about the work that you've done? Can you just maybe just the creative space that you need to be in, like first of all, after losing someone, to start writing, can you just talk us a little bit about that journey? And maybe before you even do that, just talk about your love for words, because I think that that came first, didn't it? It came first, and then
Yes.
You kind of came with the book. So can you just maybe just talk to us about your love for words and how you came to writing Naked?
So I've always loved writing from an early age. I remember I got my first diary when I was 15 because my dad found lots of stashes of paper around the house where I was just scribbling, writing things down, poetry, songs, just random things, quotes.
Really?
I was just, and then he thought, oh, let me get this child a diary. She needs somewhere to put all her thoughts in. So I've kept a diary since I was 15 and I'm 31 this year, turning 32. I've just always written stuff. But I feel like I've written the most, like ever, since Tshegofatso died than I did before, because it was my way of processing what had just happened. Like things just make sense to me when they are written down. I can have a conversation with you, maybe 10% of it will stick, but if I write it down, then all of it will stick. And if I'm struggling to understand something that's going on in my life, I need to process it through writing. I need to write it down and read it to myself. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. Yeah. So I've always processed things through writing. And after suffering such a huge loss, I think it makes sense that I've just written more than I ever have. And Naked, we had the last conversation on Sunday night. He passed away on Monday morning. He just said, I should get back to writing poetry. And I said, I'll get back to it. He said, you write sweet poems. I was like, okay, you always say my poetry is sweet. I don't know if it's because you're a boyfriend or you really think my poetry is sweet. He's like, no. Yeah. Yes. So I said, okay, I'll write so the world can see my sweetness. And I said, actually, I'll write a book and dedicate it to you. And he said, okay. And then I actually wrote the first poem in the book. I wrote it and I sent it to him. And he said, please never stop writing. So I never stopped writing. So after I died, I was like, oh shit, now I've committed to writing in a book of poetry. I must honor my word, because we just always honored our words with each other. So I was like, I need to honor this last promise that I made to him. So I kept thinking about it, but I just felt like I wasn't in the right space to write, and I didn't know what structure I wanted it to take. And in those first few months, I didn't really feel like sharing anything with the world, like poetry, I just wrote about my pain. Yeah. So I thought the best way for me to write this book would be to write to him. Yeah. So that's how I wrote it. Because I knew what I wanted to say to him. I could talk to him. While I was struggling to talk to everyone else in my life, I could still talk to him. Yeah. So I wrote to him. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question in that after Naked, how do you, and I know it's still too soon, or is it not? I don't know. But do you see yourself loving the same way you have? And is it fair to even compare? I don't know. But do you see yourself letting someone in, allowing yourself to be loved the same way Tshegofatso loved you?
I can see myself loving and being loved, but just not the same way. That was just his and my story. It can never be replicated. It can never be done. It was just, that's what makes it special, that it could only be because of him and I. No
Okay.
one else can love me the way he loved me. I can't love anyone else the way I loved him. I can love well again. I can be loved well again. It'll just never be the same.
Okay. And do you think, like, I guess I'm just trying to imagine, you know, when you've shared so much with somebody and, you know, how hard it can be for somebody to come in and be like, oh, you know, I don't want to compare, but are you writing me a poem? Like, would you, does writing come to you like that naturally, like when you're feeling your emotions? Because you mentioned that you write your thoughts down on paper.
Yeah.
So is that something that comes naturally? So if, you know, if you were in a relationship and you were also happy and also in love, is that the natural process where he's like, oh, you know, this person makes me feel like this, and maybe articulate that into on paper?
Actually, no, because I think writing a book of poetry, and I also put a memorial bench at our favorite park.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was just birthed from the kind of love we shared.
Okay.
Because I can never, ever have that love again. I don't think anyone will inspire me to write a whole book of poetry for them. And I have this, see, this tattoo here of his name.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it clear?
It is very clear.
Okay, I have a tattoo of his name. So I just feel like that love was just larger than life. Mm-hmm. This is what came naturally from me. Like I didn't have to sit and think, oh my God, what do I have to do? These were just physical manifestations of the love. So I don't think I'll ever be loved that way or ever love that way again. So not that I'll never do big things for the next lover. It's just that they'll be different. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll discover something else. Maybe I'll cook for them, something different.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I hope and I wish for you a love that will sweep you off your feet, and we get to know a bit more about you and about the way your brain works on paper. But
thank you.
I'm like, just to kind of really hone in, like I hear what you're saying, that you feel that you will not love the same way again, and I appreciate that, because I feel like relationships evolve, you evolve as a person, you change. The things that you liked in one relationship, you find that actually you absolutely love or you absolutely hate, so things change. Do you have that space in your heart to kind of let someone in to completely surpass the love that you had for Tshegofatso?
It's not a competition. So it would be, it doesn't have to be better. It doesn't have to be less than. There's just Tshegofatso and I's love. It's there. It just is. And then there'll be another love. Mm-hmm. Right now, I don't feel like I'm in that space. Like my house is just so filled with pictures of Tshegofatso. Like I talk about him a lot. The other day, my sister-in-law and my brother were just talking, and then my sister is like, what did you post on Instagram? Then my brother's like, you don't have to check. She just posts Tshegofatso. So you see that I still talk about him now as if he's still here. So it will come. It will be different. It won't be better. It won't be less than. It will just be different.
Just be different. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, I appreciate that. And can you tell us a little bit, like for any young person, or not young, but old person who hasn't had anything published before, do you mind sharing your journey about that as well? Like what did you do? How did you get this out and managing to set it outside, like even places like I got this. It took a while to get to me, but I have it. What was that process like?
So before I even wrote, I already had an editor. Pilani is my friend from 2008. We met in 2008. Mm-hmm. He's a brilliant poet himself, and he's written books. So I wrote a book. He said, just write the book and then we'll deal with it later, like the rest later. So he said, come back to me when the book is ready. Then I went back to him and I said, I think we have a book now. I think the book is ready. And he was the editor. And then I had to find a cover designer. So I went on a healing retreat last year, just after Tsago's passing, and I met a guy who also self-published a poetry book. So I told him that I was planning on doing the same. So he gave me the contacts for the cover designer. So I got in touch with him, and he did the cover and typesetting for me. And then so he also, because he's done a lot of books, he also, the designer has done a lot of books. He told me about getting it on Amazon. So I didn't want to get a publisher because I didn't want to be told what to write. Also, I didn't want to worry about writing a book that sells. My only goal, my only dream, my only desire was to write a book for the love of my life. And I did exactly that. Okay. So even if I had just written it and kept it in the house,
you would have been happy with that.
I would have been happy. Yeah. So getting sales and whatnot has just been a bonus.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you did write it and keep it in the house. I'm glad that we get to share a bit of you, a bit of Tsego as well, in this book. Do you call it a book or a pamphlet? Like, I never know.
I just call it a book because I don't know what it's. I mean, it's just 29 poems because he was 29. That was intentional. But yeah, I just call it a book because I say I'm writing a book of poetry.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that, because so we are also going to be giving out 2 of these books. So for anybody it has to be within the UK, guys, because if you start. Yeah, no, it has to be within the UK or US.
Or even essay. Let's make it 4. That'll give 2 an essay and 2.
Fine. An essay. So if you're in essay and you're listening and you'd want a copy of this, then DM us. So the first 2 people will get this delivered free. Just so that we can just share Tsego and share Sane's love for him. Sane's love for him.
Thank you.
So yeah. DM us, Guidance Guys, everywhere, Instagram, and then just 2 lucky people, we will get the book and we'll get it shipped out to you. So UK, USA, and South Africa. I think it's just easier to do it that way. Everyone else can just, you can come to us. We can have readings for you, But yeah, so I'm just trying to think of a way we can end on a nice light note. Can you tell us, like, what do you do for fun?
Ooh, now you're going to expose me that I'm actually a very boring person.
What's your go-to?
I always used to say
boring people. We just like different things.
So I love writing. Like, it's just my happy thing, my sad thing, it's my everything. But let's say apart from writing, because I'm homeboard, it's a Friday today. I'm at home. I'm not planning on doing anything. I'm just gonna chill with my nieces. Oh yeah, I like hanging with my nieces. They're young, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they're pretty. And what about the cat? You don't mention Larry.
I love Larry so much. I'm adopting a dog, and they keep telling him, Larry, you're getting a cousin.
I love it. Larry will be there. Though I hope they love each other.
They have to. They are family. They have no choice.
Yeah. No, awesome. Listen, this has been amazing. Thank you so much, Sane, for your time today. Thank you for sharing how you have overcome grief or overcoming grief. I suppose it's a journey, it's a process.
Yes.
And love, the way that you have spoken about your love for Tsego and your love for each other. I think it definitely transcends in the book. It definitely transcends when you speak. So yeah, all I can say is I am thankful and I'm grateful that you guys were, because we get to sit down and we speak about him with you. So thank you very much for letting us into your minds today. And yeah, hopefully in the future there'll be something else that is something amazing happens and causes you to write something again. We can only hope.
Yes. Thank you. That would really be lovely.
Yeah. No. So, and where can people find you? Like, are you open to like receiving personal comments and stuff like that? Are you is your profile free, open, not private? Like, is your profile public on Twitter, Instagram? Are you a social person?
So I'm only on Instagram, and my Instagram, I like to keep it private, like just family. Yeah. And because I've got a blog. Okay. On Medium, people can find me there. My username is Umzila Dawolandela.
Okay, like it Umzila Dawolandela. Okay, I'll put that on the link to this episode as well.
Okay, yeah, I've got a blog, so anyone who wants to find me can find me on my blog.
Lovely. Okay, thank you so much. We will catch you at some point. Thank you so much, Sane.
Thank you for having me. I love talking about Tshegofatso, so thank you.
No worries.
Okay.